Picture this. It's 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You just closed your laptop after finishing a $25 freelance gig or responding to the 40th customer inquiry on your Etsy shop. You're exhausted. Your eyes are bloodshot, and the blue light from the screen is the only thing keeping you awake. You haven't had a real conversation with your partner in 3 days, and your relaxing weekend was spent editing videos or packaging products in your garage. But you tell yourself, this is the grind. This is what it takes. You've watched the TikToks and the YouTube gurus telling you that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. You've been told that if you aren't hustling while you sleep, you'll be poor forever. So you keep stocking them. The 9 to 5, the Uber driving on weekends, the drop shipping store, the crypto portfolio. You're proud of your hustle. But what if I told you that for 90% of people, the multiple income streams dream is actually a financial trap? What if the very thing you think is building your freedom is actually the thing that's keeping you broke, tired, and stuck in a low-value loop? If you're tired of the generic financial advice and want to understand the real mechanics of how money and time work in 2026, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're here to help you audit your life and stop you from running on a hamster wheel that's going nowhere. Today, we're going to perform a brutal audit on the side hustle industrial complex, because in the world of business, there is a massive difference between revenue and margin. If a company makes $10 million but spends $11 million to get it, that company is a failure. Yet when it comes to our own lives, we celebrate extra income without ever looking at the cost of goods sold. And the good being sold is you, your time, your sanity, and your future. Let's look at the math they don't show you on the flashy Instagram reels. Say you start a side hustle that brings in an extra $500 a month. On paper, that's $6,000 a year. It feels like a win. But let's do the forensic accounting. To make that $500, you're working an extra 15 hours a week. That's 60 hours a month. Mathematically, you're selling your limited, high-value free time for about $8.33 an hour. But it gets worse. Because you're working those extra hours, you're too tired to meal prep, so you spend an extra $150 a month on delivery apps. You're stressed, so you buy more treat-yourself items to cope. You're burning more electricity, using more internet, and perhaps most importantly, you're sacrificing your deep work capability. When you factor in the context-switching tax, the mental energy it takes to jump from your corporate brain to your side hustle brain, your efficiency plummets. You're not just tired, you're becoming cognitively bankrupt. Take a look at Sarah. Sarah makes $70,000 a year at her marketing job. She's good at it, but she wants more, so she starts a side hustle managing social media for local bakeries. She makes an extra $1,000 a month, but because she's up until 1 a.m. every night, her performance at her 9 to 5 starts to slip. She's missing the big picture ideas. She's too drained to network or take on the high visibility projects that lead to a promotion. 6 months later, Sarah misses out on a $15,000 a year raise at her main job because she was too busy chasing $12,000 a year from her side hustle. She traded a high-margin, scalable career move for a low-margin, high-stress treadmill. She thinks she's winning because she has multiple streams, but her total net worth and her quality of life are actually moving backward. This is the efficiency trap. We are so obsessed with adding new streams that we forget to widen the ones we already have. We've been tricked into becoming high-churn, low-margin human beings. We are working harder than ever, but because we are spread 3 inches thin across 5 different jobs, we never build the depth required to actually get rich. The line is that more is better. The truth is that focused margin is the only thing that creates true wealth. Imagine your brain is a high-performance computer. Every time you open a new tab, a new project, a different client, a different set of rules, you aren't just adding a task, you're consuming RAM. In psychology, this is called context switching, and in the world of the side hustle, it's the invisible tax that's bankrupting your potential. The context-switching tax isn't a bill you get in a mail, but you pay it every single day. Research shows that every time you switch between unrelated tasks, you lose about 20% of your productive capacity. If you're juggling a 9 to 5, a freelance writing gig, and a small e-commerce store, you're not giving 100% to three things. You're giving about 40% to each, and the remaining 60% is simply evaporated into the mental reboot time your brain needs to shift gears. This is why most side hustles stay small. They are designed to be supplemental, which is just a fancy word for distraction. You're working just hard enough to be tired, but not focused enough to be elite. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they have 14 different hustles that have nothing to do with each other? Usually no. They have a core engine. They might have multiple investments, sure, real estate, stocks, private equity, but their labor is laser focused on one high leverage skill. The lie we've been sold is that diversifying your income means diversifying your labor. That is a catastrophic mistake. Diversifying your investments protects your wealth. Diversifying your labor prevents you from ever building it. Let's look at the generalist trap. Say you spend 10 hours a week driving for a rideshare app. You're making, let's say, $20 an hour after gas. In a year, you've made $10,000. It feels like a win. But what if you took those same 500 hours and invested them into becoming the top 1% in your actual career? What if you used that time to learn a high-value skill like AI integration, specialized sales, or advanced data architecture that could command a $40,000 raise at your main job? By chasing the $10,000 safe money, you walked away from $30,000 of growth money. This is the opportunity cost. You're trading your peak performance hours for low-skill wages. You're essentially taking a high-performance Ferrari and using it to deliver pizza. It works, but it's a tragic waste of the machinery. And then there is the psychological shadow work of the side hustle. When you have 5 streams of income, you have 5 streams of anxiety. You have 5 different groups of people who might need something from you at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday while you're at your main job. That low-level background hum of stress never goes away. You never truly log off. Your brain is always scanning for the next notification, the next sale, the next crisis. This state of constant partial attention is the enemy of the one thing that actually makes you rich: deep work. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It's the superpower of the 21st century, but you can't achieve deep work if you're constantly checking your Shopify dashboard or worrying about your Uber rating. The hustle culture movement of 2026 wants you to believe that busy equals productive. They want you to feel guilty if you're not monetizing every hobby and every spare second of your life. But being busy is often just a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and an inability to prioritize. It's easier to go drive for 2 hours and see $40 in an app than it is to sit down for 2 hours and do the hard, uncomfortable work of building a scalable business or mastering a difficult skill. One gives you a hit of dopamine today, the other gives you a different life 3 years from now. Most people are penny wise and pound foolish. They're so busy picking up nickels in the gutter that they don't see the steamroller of burnout and stagnating wages coming right for them. So how do we break the cycle? The answer isn't to stop being ambitious or to settle for a mediocre life. The answer is to stop being a job stacker and start being a skill stacker. The system wants you to stack jobs because a person with 3 jobs is a person with no time to think, no time to negotiate, and no time to compete. But when you stack skills, you aren't adding more hours to your day, you're adding more value to every single hour you already work. If you're a graphic designer making $30 an hour, don't go drive a car for $20 an hour in your free time. Spend that time learning conversion rate optimization or AI prompt engineering for designers. Suddenly, you're not a designer anymore. You're a high-conversion visual architect. You don't need a side hustle because your main hustle now pays you $150 an hour. You've achieved the same income as 3 jobs, but you've cut your shadow work and commute costs by 70%. The first step out of the trap is a vampire audit. You need to look at every single stream of income you have and ask, after I subtract the taxes, the gas, the extra takeout, the coffee, and the mental exhaustion, what is my real hourly wage for this specific task? If that number is lower than your main job's hourly rate, kill it immediately. It is a vampire. It is sucking the life out of your ability to perform at a high level where it actually matters. The second step is to stop focusing on gross revenue and start obsessing over the gap. The gap is the space between what you earn and what it costs you to live. Most people think the only way to widen the gap is to earn more, but in 2026, the most effective way to widen the gap is to reduce the cost of working. If you can negotiate working from home just 2 days a week, you might save $4,000 a year in gas, car maintenance, and convenience spending. That is a $4,000 raise that is 100% tax-free. You didn't have to start a new business, you didn't have to learn a new app, and you didn't have to lose a single minute of sleep. You simply optimized your cost of goods sold. We have to stop measuring our success by how tired we are. In the hustle culture era, exhaustion was a badge of honor. In the efficiency era, exhaustion is a sign of a failing business model. The goal isn't to have 7 streams of income. The goal is to have 1 or 2 high-leverage engines that produce so much margin that you have the time to actually live. True wealth isn't having the most money, it's having the most options. It's the ability to say no to a low-value gig because your time is too valuable to be sold for pennies. Don't let the side hustle lie rob you of your best years. Stop selling your life at a discount. Audit your time, stack your skills, and protect your margin. Because at the end of the day, your freedom isn't found in how much you make, it's found in how much of yourself you get to keep. Thanks for watching. If this perspective changed how you look at your calendar, share it with someone who's currently drowning in the hustle. I'll see you in the next one.